All right, welcome everyone to this video. In this video, we're basically going to talk about how you could reduce the amount of spending you are doing on online advertising by cleaning up your funnel, optimizing it, and basically reducing the amount of leakage you have in your whole funnel. So if you could imagine, I'm just going to do an overview here. If you've seen our videos in the past, you've already been through this, so you could skip ahead. But let me just explain here. So if you have where leads notice your business, so advertising basically gets people to notice your business. Now, there's ways to do it paid, so that would be advertising, so you're paying for ads, or you could do it organically. And the organic ways are going to be the following, your review sites, your search engine results, your social media, your maps, and so on and so forth. So I'm not going to cover all of these, but these are all the ways people can notice your business. When they notice the business, they're going to inform themselves. So this section here is basically the same thing as online advertising, but this one is free and this one is paid. Now, if you're trying to reduce the amount of spend you're doing there, so you don't want to spend more on ads, you're trying to reduce, or maybe you want to keep it at the same amount, but you're trying to get more leads for the ads, so your cost per acquisition is going to get lower. What you have to do is you have to optimize this section of the funnel. So basically the secondary steps, because if people are noticing you, you could play around within Google Ads or Facebook Ads or whatever meta ads you're doing to get cheaper impressions. But after a certain point, it's pretty much maxed out, or the improvements you can make are going to be too tight. So even if you're playing with your creatives, you're doing better videos, you're doing better Google Ads, you're optimizing every single aspect of it, you might hit a rock bottom there, you might hit a wall there. And so what you're going to have to do after is improve your whole sales cycle, your whole conversion rate optimization, so that in the next step of the funnel, they're actually converting more and leading you in total to a lower cost per acquisition. So if you could imagine here, what you could do is that when the lead notices your business, whether from ads or from your search results, they're going to either land on your website, they're going to either check out your reputation, check out your content, or they're going to contact you directly from the ad. So in most cases, if you're a service business, if you're a contractor and you're offering your services to larger businesses, or you're offering your services are more expensive. So let's say they're $30,000 roofs or something like that. Most people are not just going to contact you straight off the bat. They're going to fill out a form, and that form is going to be filled out either through the ads maybe, but in most cases they're going to check out your website, or they're going to check out your online reputation and so on. And so what you can do is you could improve your process at this step, so improve your conversion rate, to then decrease the cost of your acquisition of your customers. And then you can improve your sales cycle and so on to improve that as well. So if I were to give you an actual, more of a tangible show of explanation here, so if you could imagine your ads being this way. So you're getting 2,000 visitors a month to your ads. You're having a conversion rate of 3%. Your close rate right now is at 20%. So you're closing 20% of your deals. Average order value is going to be $30,000. Let's say you're a roofer, electrician, whatever, that you have these big contracts. Refund rate at 2% or whatever. This is going to be your monthly profit. So you're making approximately almost $100,000 a month. Now imagine you're not changing the amount of visitors. So let's say the ads are running the same. All you improve is your conversion rate. So basically when they see your website, instead of only having 3% of people to contact you, now you're getting maybe to 4%, which we've seen possible for most service businesses that haven't done these optimizations in the past. You could probably get that up. So if you could imagine your online reputation getting better because you've got more reviews, you show them across all the places, and you show them through your website, that increases your conversion rate. Then maybe on your actual website, you improve it, by 30%, let's say, by optimizing certain aspects of it, improving certain things, you might get a boost there. Maybe on your content, you have a slight, 5% improvement just because you're posting everywhere. And so again, if we go back here, the person sees you on an ad, they go and try to inform themselves. They see your online reputation, now it's better, it's got more reviews. They see your website, it's better structured, it gives them more information, and it's more likely for them to contact you. Then you got your content where you're showing content, you're showing you're active, you got a lot of followers, a lot of likes, whatever it may be. And that's increasing the likelihood they end up contacting you. So all these things take into consideration. You can imagine going from a 3% conversion rate to, let's say, a 4.65. So you could say already, now we're just talking about improvements here. All the rest being equal. So you're spending the same amount on ads for the impressions you're getting, for the visitors to the site you're getting. You're spending the same, everything is the same, your ads are the same, everything is the same. All you're changing is your conversion rate. What that could lead you to is, let's say in this case, 55% increase in profits. So if all else stays equal, so your close rate stays the same, your average order value stays the same, and so on, now you've just increased your profits by 55% by optimizing these things. And so the cost of your acquisition for these clients is going to significantly reduce, because for the same amount of profit, if you were to try to keep it at $88,000 in profit, you could actually reduce the amount of spend you're doing on Google Ads. So let's say if you could imagine, actually I can't, let's say if I were to do this, minus, let's say minus 400. So you see even there, so let me just try to make this example. So let's say you were around 800 people less, let's just say 700 people less. So you could reduce your ads, so you're only seeing people are only 1,300 people are actually end up seeing your ad. Well, because of these improvements in conversion rate, you're basically leading to the same thing. So the same amount of profit or the same amount of revenue you're making per month. So if you can imagine your ads running at 2,000, they're costing you, let's say $10,000 a month to capture this amount of leads. Then maybe if you were to reduce it, maybe spending $6,000 a month, you can still get the same amount of effect, so the same amount of leads or same amount of jobs, just by increasing your conversion rate through your website. So that's pretty much it, what I'm going to cover today, and the ideas behind it and how to do it. But I just want to show you guys the profit calculator. Also, another thing I could mention is that you could improve it at the conversion rate level, so improving your reputation, your website and your content, but you also can improve your close rate. So let's say if you're closing 20% of deals that are coming through the door, and you increase that maybe by 10% because you're improving your show up rate. People are showing up more to the appointments, they're showing up more to the calls, you're texting them back faster, so they're actually answering you back, and so they're more interested in you. Maybe you get a 10% boost in leads there. And then maybe you get another 10% boost because your sales team is more optimized, your communication is better with clients, you're getting another boost there. So, excuse me, I'm not gonna do 200, we're gonna do 20. So you can imagine how, these are small boosts. You're going from a 20% close rate to a 24% close rate, but in terms of the bottom line of your business, you're significantly increasing the amount of profits you're making. And the beauty of this is that if you're doing advertising, you spend $10,000 on ads, you get whatever, $100,000 in revenue. So it's very, I spend this, I get this. Now, if you're doing it through these optimizations and you're improving them, well, now it's reducing the cost you're doing for this month, but not just this month, the next month, the next month, the next month. So even if Google, it gets more and more expensive, you have a hedge compared to your competitors, a stronger edge, because everything is optimized at the bottom of the funnel, and so you could compete with them stronger, and you could bid more for keywords, and you could actually spend more compared to your competitors because the rest of your funnel is so well optimized and so good and so strong and so, basically you could say, tight, and so it leads you to the most amount of conversions possible. And if you could see, the projections of every year, if we were to assume the same rate of improvement, 10% for your old improvements or your old state compared to your new improvements, you can see how it could be exponential for your business. So let's get into actually what all of this means, because it's all good and dandy that we see all the results, but what does it actually entail for your business? So now, the lead notice is your business, whether from ads or paid advertising. We're going to give the example of paid advertising. What you can do is you could, in terms of your online reputation, to improve it, you could get more reviews. So you basically ask every single client you've ever had. You ask your old clients, you ask your new clients, and you've got some miscellaneous strategies to get some more reviews. I have videos covering these in more detail. So if you go on my channel, I have videos dedicated to every single aspect of this whole funnel. So if you want more in-depth tutorials, as well as have these trainings here. So you see we have 3 trainings here, reviews, Google My Business, and social sites, but I have some dedicated for other aspects of your business. So let's say here, website design, website structure, website speed. You can access all of these linked in the description below. It's going to be there for free. So there's 12 of those. And you can basically use those in the checklist within it to basically implement the best strategies possible within your business. So let's get back to it here. So if you're trying to improve your online reputation, you get more reviews. So ask all your clients and so on. You want to increase the review quality. So basically you want to ask your clients in a way to increase the likelihood to leave you a good review, or leave you a review that is good for you. So review as templates. There's maybe templates you can send out, or you can have a bad review filter. So what you can do, this is a side trick I could say, is that if you're asking for reviews, so maybe you're asking all your old clients, what you can do is that the ones that you're not sure about the service they received, or you don't remember what was their feeling, or maybe they had even shared some negative thoughts about your business, you can send them a different link. And that link is going to say, maybe you're going to send the email, hey, would you mind leaving us a review? Or filling out this form to leave us a review. So what you say is you send them that link. That link is, instead of directing them directly to Google My Business, let's say, it's going to direct them to a form. On that form, they could explain what experience they had with your business. So this is going to be a form that's going to go directly to you. And then when they finish that form, if they leave a 5-star review on that form, then you redirect them to Google My Business. If they don't leave you a 5-star review on that form, a 4-star or less, then you redirect them to maybe your sales rep, or maybe somebody, your customer service team, so that they could deal with that client and maybe ask them, hey, look, we saw that your review was bad. Is there anything we can help you with your service, and so on and so forth. So that reduces the likelihood that that person is going to leave you a bad review. All the while you increase the likelihood that if you're asking everyone, you're actually getting some more reviews, some more positive reviews on your Google My Business. So there's ways to play around with that. Then you got your review distribution. This is something most of your local competition is probably not going to do, is having the reviews distributed on every single platform. So I'm talking about every single platform. I'm saying Google My Business, your Yelp, Trustpilot, Facebook, TripAdvisor, all the other major platforms. Basically, Google doesn't discriminate. So if you get a review on Google, you can have a review also on Yelp. You can have the same one on Trustpilot. So that same person, that one person, can leave your review on all of these. They're just different sites. And so if you know the client personally and you have a good relationship with them, you could say, hey, look, you left me a review here. Thank you again for the review. Maybe you give them a freebie, you give them something, a value to offer them. Say, hey, would you mind leaving me a review on all these other platforms as well? It really helps out my business. So they can leave you a review on 3 platforms if they want. And that just overall gives you a better reputation online compared to your competitors, or maybe just getting the reviews on Google My Business or Trustpilot or whatever it may be. Then what you want to do also is respond to reviews. So again, all these are going to help, just to reiterate, they're going to help your conversion rate. So they're going to help the likelihood that if somebody sees your business online, they'll actually end up contacting you. And responding to reviews is part of it, because if you could imagine a Google My Business, let's say we're comparing you to your competitors and you both have 200 reviews. That person goes into the reviews and they see that business A, your competitor, responds to every single one of them, the positive ones and the negative ones. And the negative ones, they address them. So if there's an issue, they could address whether it's the fault of the customer or their fault. And they could have an answer, they have a response to help the customer. So if you can imagine a client, they see business A that's responding to the reviews, they're handling negative objections, they're dealing with people who have negative thoughts. If I'm the customer, I trust this business more than the other one who's never even answered a review. And that if I see the negative reviews on this one and I see it's a really bad one and there's no response, then I assume, okay, it's true, because that person didn't even respond, didn't even take the time to respond. So they probably did mess up and they don't even want to own up to it. So you see how their reputation might be affected by this fact. So if somebody's searching, they go on your ad and then they look up your business on Google, or maybe even they check you out on Google My Business or whatever, or they see your ad on Google My Business, they're going to see your reviews, they're going to see what it's like. And then if they get that feeling compared to your competitors, it might lead you to lose that sale, and leading to higher customer acquisition costs and so on. So that's pretty much it for your online reputation. These are the things you want to keep in mind. Then what you got your website in general. So you got 3 aspects of your website, 3 pillars. You got your website structure, so how it's structured, so the order of the information on your website. You've got your website's design, and you got your website speed. Now, website design is emotion, so trying to showcase through emotions, through colors, to design that your business is trustworthy, it's modern. So this is I would say the most important thing, because if you go on a website and you see the website has design elements that are very past that, they're very old, that might indicate to the person, okay, this business is an old business, this business is not active right now. If I were to contact them, they're probably not going to answer me back, and so on and so forth. And that could lead to less people contacting you just because of that fact. So already just modernizing the website should increase your conversion rate. And then there's many optimizations to do that, psychological tricks, you could say, to try to improve the odds of the client actually ending up contacting you. And so you could change your buttons. So that's your call to action. So all the buttons on your website, you can make them brighter. You can make them pop out more. You can give them shadows. You can make them borders. You can give a little icon on it. If you have a phone number button, if it's on desktop, instead of just saying call us, you actually put the number there. Because people, if they're on desktop, they don't press the button to call. They actually take out their phones. So you can have your numbers set out there. So anyways, again, I have videos going over in depth what that actually means and what that entails and how to do it. Same thing with the trainings. But this video is just going to be an overview. So you got your call to actions, your branding, like I was saying, to make it modern and so on. You want to showcase your testimonials. So again, this is probably going to be step number 1, is getting your reviews. But when you've got your best reviews, you want to showcase them everywhere within your website. So you want to show your best reviews. You want to show if people could film themselves leaving a review. So if you have clients that are good clients, you can ask them, hey, look, would you mind giving me a selfie style, review of your experience? I am so happy with the roof. They left the job site super clean. All my neighbors are super happy. I even recommended them to 2 people, blah, blah, blah. Those reviews are going to be able to convert more and increase the likelihood that somebody's going to contact you compared to reviews that are just text. So if you were somebody, most businesses have their text reviews. It's a paragraph, nobody really reads them. And so this is a lot more enticing having those videos. And even if people don't click on it, just the fact that there's videos, there's faces going, that engages people more and tends to lead to higher conversions. So something to consider there. Then you got your VSLs. So VSLs is basically a video sales letter. So it's basically a video of you like I'm doing now, shorter, so like a 2-5 minute video that you will put up front on your website. And what that does is that, most people like content more than reading. So they like watching videos more than reading. So you could offer them that. So you could offer that option to explain your business in video form. And that really tends to lead in higher conversion rates. This is something that I don't see a lot of service businesses do. I don't see a lot of contractors do. And I think the reason why is because it's such a new thing that hasn't been adopted yet. But the value of it is tremendous. I've seen this for agencies. I've seen it for people who are more in industries that are more, they're more upfront modern times. They've used these strategies for VSLs and their conversion rate is increased by 20%, something ridiculous like that. So just having a video there, it allows the person that when they're seeing the video, they get a feel for your business, they get a feel for you as the owner. If you're doing the videos, your owner, they're getting more information about the services you offer, because in the video you could share, maybe drone footage of the roofs you did, maybe whatever footage you may have. You could show, within the house, all the design, the before and after. You could do before and after montage. So you could really show a lot more information compared to just having your images and your text within your website. Then third pillar to increase conversion rates, to increase the amount of deals you get, is going to be your website speed. So that's going to be optimizing your images and videos, your fonts, your animations, and your backends or your code to make the websites load as fast as possible. And this stat I've shown a bunch of times in these videos, but it's a very important and interesting one. So if you could imagine your business conversion rate is probably going to be lower than 31%, unless you're a service business that's very low ticket. But if you're a contractor, you're probably going to be around more than 5% mark. In any case, you see how the relative scale of things go down. So in this business, in this case study, you could say a 0 to 1 second loading website, speed loading website, so it loads under 1 second, is 31% conversion rate. About 1 to 2 seconds drops to 20%. 2 to 3 seconds drops to 14%, and so on and so forth. So you see how the trend, and you have some spikes here, but you see the trend is downward. So what does that mean? Well, it means that the slower your website is, the less customers actually engage with your website, the more likely they are to leave, the less likely they are to actually contact you. And so if I were to give you a recommendation of one thing, is that if you go to, let's say, Google Page Speed Insights, this is a tool online, or you go Page Speed Checker, and you see that your website is over 2 seconds, this would be priority number 1 for you to change. You optimize your images, you make them tighter, you make them compressed, you compress them, you change the format. Anyways, I'm not going to go over it in this video, but we have videos covering that, how to do it. I would recommend that as being the number 1 priority in your business, because all you have to do is change that, and your website speed, let's say, goes back to under 1 second. You're going to triple the amount of leads you're going to get. You're going to triple the amount of conversions you're going to get just by this fact. Now, this might not apply exactly to your industry. If you're, this example, I don't remember exactly from which business, might not be as sharp, but any improvement in speed makes your website better. So if all else being equal, faster your website, the better it is. So something to keep in mind there. Now, you've got, after that, your content. So if you're trying to improve your content here, you could, have content of different types. You have user-generated content, some testimonial content, some educational content, maybe even some vibe content. In most cases, if you're a service business, local service business, and you're starting out, your content strategies are not going to be worth too much at the beginning unless you're really going all out. So I would recommend just having posts that are more basic posts on your profile, and that's going to serve as probably good enough for the beginning. Now, that's it for when the lead informs themselves. Then what you also have is when the lead contacts you. So if I were to go back to the projections here, take a little time to load, this is going to be increasing your close rate. So basically increasing the likelihood that if somebody contacts you, they actually end up purchasing from you. And so if we were to go here and we see, in terms of your inquiry, if you're a contractor, most likely you're going to get inquiries compared to appointments. What you basically want to set is automations and AI chatbots for every single one of these. Maybe email and text you don't want to, but for DMs and form fill-outs, you want to basically have AI chatbots that communicate with clients automatically and that communicate with clients outside of your work hours. So you could set up a missed call text back chatbot. You could set up a AI chatbot that just communicates with clients automatically in DMs. So you don't have to do DMs. You don't have to hire an employee to do your DMs. It's all going to be automatic. It's all going to be done automatically. And that's going to increase the likelihood that those interested leads are actually going to convert into customers. Because if you could imagine your business version A of yours only works during 9 to 5 on the weekdays and only answers clients within that 9 to 5, and you compare to business B that has the AI chatbot set up for your text and your DMs and whatever, that's answering them 24 hours, 7 days a week. Well, which one is going to tend to perform better? Well, I would say 100% of the time or 99% of the time, this one's going to perform better, because now you're answering clients at every hour right away. And so if they're interested in your service right now you're contacting them, you're engaging with them, you're talking to them. So that's going to increase the likelihood they end up actually being clients. And so these types of ways you could do the optimizations and automations you could do. Again, there's videos covering exactly what these are and how to set these up. But just the gist of it, if we were to improve these things, you could really get far in terms of your close rate and show up rate, and improve that and lead you to more sales. So same thing, let's say for appointments. So if you're an appointment style contractor business or any other type of service business, you might want to have more dedicated flow. So let's say when somebody says a positive response on the call, somebody says a negative response, I'll think about it, no response, and so on. You can basically send them different types of messaging to increase the likelihood that after that they answer you back or they get back on another call and you potentially close them. So a bunch of different things you could do, a lot of different ways you could optimize these things. I would say the easiest ones to implement, or the simplest ones to implement, because they're not necessarily easy, is going to be all of these here. So these ones I talked about, especially the website and online reputation ones. And then the ones that are being worth to do as a second stand, in my opinion, is going to be all the automations and the AI setup that's going to happen there. So anyways, that's pretty much it for the video. This is how you could reduce your cost of acquisition, so your cost of online paid advertising, without even touching your ads. This is how you could actually lead your business to more revenue, more leads, and basically make more without spending any more on ads. So that's pretty much it for this video. If you guys want to download the trainings, you could download the 12 trainings in the description below. Also, if you want to check out the YouTube channel, we have the videos, like I was saying, describing every single aspect. So if you're interested, like I overviewed, let's say websites, interested in that, we have videos dedicated for that. If you are interested in the optimizing online reputation, we have a video dedicated to that as well. So you can check that out. It's going to make it easier for you to do. And if you download the trainings, you also get access to this basic checklist that basically covers every single aspect of your service business and how to optimize it. If you're a contractor, basically every aspect that we talked about and how to get better at it. So that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, anything you want to let me know in the comments, please write them down. I'm going to try to answer every single comment there is. So any concerns, any questions, anything you weren't clear about, I'll try to explain them there. And also, if you want to work with us, Visions Digital, we're an agency that works specifically with local service businesses, and even more specifically with contractors. So if you're a contractor or even local service business, you could contact us. We'll try to work with you, see if we can't, if we can diagnose a certain aspect of your funnel as being underperforming or potentially could be better performing. And so we'll see if we can't optimize it and try to improve it and see if we can't get you better results, more sales, more revenue, and so on. So that's pretty much it for the video. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.